Hello and welcome to this video on verbal ability and reading comprehension. I've got quite a few requests on this topic. I've got Nishant asking me, most of us are struggling in VRC, please guide. Vivek has quite a lot of questions. Reading comprehension sources, how to comprehend well, how to increase reading speed, technique to read fast. Aman has a particular question here. He is not got much issues with respect to the VARC of the CAT, but he has issue with VARC of OMET. Initially, I was wondering what is OMET, but I think I figured that out. That is what? Other Management Entrance Test. I hope I got that right, which means what? NMAT, XAT, SNAP, and those tests, right? Okay. I have put some videos on various topics of verbal ability and reading comprehension. I'll share the link in the description box. You can check those out. It might be of help. Some of these answers you can find here in terms of how to read well, how to eliminate options, how to look at paragraph jumble, how to look at paragraph summary, and hopefully I'll add more and more videos in the days to come. Now, coming back to the questions, verbal ability and reading comprehension has a different kind of questions that I get than, let's say, quantitative ability or data interpretation and logical reasoning. For example, in the QA or quantitative ability section, the questions are slightly different in the sense that you have QAs a little more structured. You have chapters, and your questions might be how to probably solve a question faster, or how to study, let's say, algebra. Should I actually study permutations, combination? Largely about the fact that what is the volume in which I need to study. That is a kind of question that you usually get in quant. In verbal ability, it's more diverse, from right from trying to increase the speed, how to increase speed, how to deal with certain type of questions, to how to build vocabulary and what book should I read, to what could be a schedule, to how to solve paragraph jumble. Very diverse set of questions. And here is where we have to be a little careful. Each of these are some problem that we are trying to solve. And we need to understand as to whether there is a merit in solving that particular problem. Because each of these problems requires time to solve, right? And we have time is a constraint that we have. So we have to be careful. Give me an awesome plan, you might be wondering. Okay, but I will not give you an awesome plan. I'll give you a sensible plan, by the way. By the way, awesome means very impressive and often frightening. That's the real meaning of awesome. Awesome does not always mean amazing. Awesome is generally saying that something that is absolutely frightening. The awesome power of nuclear bomb. Anyways, we'll make a sensible plan. Now, to make a sensible plan, this is a process that we'll follow. Number one, we will set some goals. Number two, we will look at the constraints, because constraints are important. We have to work around the constraints that we all have, and then we'll set some priorities based on the constraints. Certain battles we will be willing to lose, certain battle we will fight. We will choose the battle, because at the end of the day, what is important is to win the war, which is the war of verbal ability and reading comprehension. To win the war, there are a lot of battle that we might have to fight, and some battle we should be willing to lose because of the fact that we have got certain constraints. Once we understand these three things, then we'll go to number four, which is to create a plan. So let's start with setting a goal. Now, you might be taking different tests, and different tests has got different focus. If I look at the CAT, and from CAT 2015 onwards, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, across both the slots, one thing is common: 34 questions to be done in 1 hour. Not only that, the type of question asked was also exactly the same. Reading comprehension constituted 71% of the question, which is 24 questions. Reasoning based questions, 29%, which is, by the way, 10 questions. Now, the CAT from 2015 did not ask any questions on vocabulary, did not ask any questions on grammar. In fact, these were the questions. There were 24 questions from reading comprehension, from 5 passages. The verbal reasoning had these three specific areas: paragraph jumble, 4 questions; odd sentence in a paragraph, 3 questions; paragraph summary, 3 questions. Out of these, the paragraph jumble, you had 4 sentences given to you in a jumble format. You have to arrange it in the right order, and you have to type in the answer. Options are not given to you. You have to type in the answer. In odd sentence question, 5 sentences are given to you, out of which one of the sentence does not belong to that paragraph. Rest 4 sentences are actually jumbled and given. So all these 5 sentences is not necessarily in some sort of an order. All you have to do is identify that one sentence which does not belong to the paragraph, that you have to type in the answer. Right. So this has been the pattern of the CAT from 2015 to 19. There have been minor changes. For example, in CAT 15, CAT 16, CAT 17, the paragraph jumble had 5 sentences, but in CAT 18 and CAT 19, it had 4 sentences. In CAT 2015, 16, and probably even 17, there are 5 passages. The number of questions were of the format 6 questions from 3 passages and 3 questions from 2 passages. 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 3 plus 3. And from 2018 and 19, it was 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4. 5 questions from 4 passages and 4 questions from 1 passage. But the distribution of the question has been the same. Therefore, a reasonable prediction, a good prediction we can make is that in CAT 2020, very, 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 very likely that this is what we're going to face. So there you have it. The CAT is a very comprehension based paper. It is not knowledge based, it is comprehension based. You don't need prior knowledge to solve a question on paragraph jumble, nor you require a prior knowledge to solve a question on reading comprehension. Whatever you need to solve the question is right there. The passage is given to you. It's like an open book exam. Yeah, that's a good way to look at reading comprehension. Now, if you compare this with other tests, the story is slightly different. Oh my goodness, what is this graph? Okay, let's keep it slightly simple. Let's go test by test. Let's compare first of all the CAT with ZAT. 34 percentage, which is 34 out of the 100 questions are verbal ability. In the ZAT, 35 percentage of the paper uh, is verbal ability and reading comprehension. Other 2 sections are quantitative ability and decision making. That's the ZAT story. And in the ZAT, 85% of the question are comprehension based. So 54 percentage is reading comprehension, 31% is reasoning. By the way, I realize that doesn't add up to 100 percentage. 54 plus 31 plus 8 plus 8. I think it rounded it off. Probably one is probably 7.9, other is 8.3. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay. You get the gist, right? Okay. The point is about 15% of the questions are knowledge based, which is grammar and vocabulary. But you have a good amount of questions from comprehension, which means preparing for CAT takes care of almost 85 percentage of the ZAT paper. Yes, that's a good thing to know. Let's look at IIFT's paper. 35 percentage of the total marks allotted is for verbal ability and reading comprehension, which is probably very similar to the CAT. But if you look at the comprehension based question, that's about 50% of the paper, 49% last year. You had 35% of the question coming from vocabulary and 16% coming from grammar. So almost half the paper is vocabulary and grammar, half the paper is comprehension. So for IFT and with respect to CAT, the CAT preparation in one sense takes care of 50% of the IFT paper. You have to do something extra, learning grammar and figuring out something to do with vocabulary. That's the case. If you look at these tests, NMAT, SNAP, and Maharashtra CET, you see that in first of all, the weightage of verbal per se is close to 1/4 in a paper like NMAT and 1/4 in a paper like MHCT. For SNAP, it is about 30%. That's a total weightage. Within that, you see that the comprehension weightage is not so high as compared to other tests. NMAT has got 38%, which is based on comprehension, which includes 25% reading comprehension, 13% reasoning, the rest are vocabulary and grammar. In SNAP, you have comprehension is just 24%. It has got more than half the paper has to do with vocabulary based questions, which are what? Synonyms, antonyms, and analogies, uh, idioms, text completion or fill in the blanks. So it's all those kind of question. And then you have some grammar based question. And MHCT, about half the paper is again vocabulary based, and then you have about 10% grammar. The comprehension part, which is the reading comprehension and reasoning based questions, are about 42%. So yes, in one sense, when you start looking at preparing for other exams or the OMET, as Aman put it, other management entrance tests, we have to do something with respect to vocabulary and grammar as well. But for the timing, let's just focus on the cat and say that what is that I need to do for the cat as a base. And then we can think about what I should do for other management test, which is largely English usage could be a good word to use, right? Yep. So let's get things started. So we have to figure out a goal. What is your target score? And your target score are yours because your goal is your goal. Let me help you here. Out of the total 300 marks from 90 to 200, what is your point? I think you can put your finger wherever you are, and I can tell you, let me help you with this. This is a percentile distribution of the overall score in the CAT 2019. So if you want to be the topper, 100 percentile, you probably would require about 220-ish, which I've not written here. I didn't have space, by the way. But okay, 200 is a good score to look at, which will be awesome. So you might want to look at any kind of score. So overall, you're looking at 99.5, which will be probably very close to about 170-ish. Maybe looking at something close to 99 percentile, which is close to 160. You might look at 95 percentile, which is probably close to about 120, 130. You might look at the 90th percentile overall, which is 100. So you might have a goal. Now, to achieve the goal, if you're looking at something like 180 marks, you want to hit the 99.7 percentile score. That's at least there you want to look at. If you want to get there, then you need these kind of scores roughly. I'm saying roughly. So you would want to be in the 99th percentile across all the three areas. It is quite possible that you're in the 100th percentile score in one area and then probably 95th percentile score. But by and large, you have to be a hero of all those three areas. You have to be a hero of VARC, you have to be a hero of DLR, you have to be a hero of quantitative ability as well. Yep, heroes in all the three areas. If you want to look at something like a 99 percentile, one way is to look at 99 percentile in VARC, 99 percentile in DLR, and 95 percentile in quant. Maybe you have to be a superhero in two areas, maybe a, I don't know, sidekick kind of a situation in QA. And that you could look at even this. I would be hero of quant and verbal, but DLR will just about manage cutoff. I'll probably get a score very close to about 33, but my score in VRC and QA is going to be very awesome. Or maybe I even look at this. Maybe I will be very good at DLR and QA and ensure that I get something that is very close to 45 marks in VRC instead of, let's say, something like a 65 or maybe a 70 marks. This is of course based on last year. So you decide what your game plan is. At the end of the day, I believe that is important, that not you must come with a plan of action. At this point in time, you would go with a rough idea in terms of, this is my goal, this is my overall target that I want to set. Then you can figure out which area I have to be the hero of, which area should I focus more to ensure my score reaches the goal that I want to reach, and you can make the course correction as we go along. Now, if you are someone who's looking at the 95th percentile, want to hit a score very close 125, largely there are two ways to look at this. One is you can be a hero of VARC. I'll become a hero of VARC. That's about 65 marks. I'm sure the rest 60 would happen, right? You have got what? Quant, you've got DLR. You just need 65 marks from both of them put together. Oh, that's okay. That's not bad. That's about getting 21 questions correct from both DLR and quant. That is possible. That could be one. Or you can say that I'm going to be a hero of QA and I will look at the rest. So question therefore is, what is your target? What do you want? How are you looking at VRC? You want to be a hero, or you want to just manage the section? I want to be a hero. Awesome. So we're going to make a plan of 99 percentile score. So to hit the 99 percentile score, let's look at the last 3 years. By the way, you had the CAT 2017 and 2018, very similar difficulty level. The 99 percentile score is 75. And CAT 2019, it was slightly difficult than the 2017-18 paper. That was 65. So the level of difficulty of 2020 is very difficult to predict, but let's go with the number of 72 marks. which is good. Let's set a goal. Goal is set. You wanted to be a hero of VARC. You want to be awesome in VARC. Did I say awesome? I said awesome. I'm sorry about that. Frightening and impressive, both in VARC. Doesn't matter. Let's carry on, ladies and gentlemen, with the goal. And to achieve that goal, what we have to do is dig a little deeper as well. So these are the areas. To now I need to get 72 marks, which means I have to get net 24 questions correct. These are the areas: reading comprehension 24 questions and the rest are 10. So this is the story. We have got marks and the number of questions. The total number of marks in reading comprehension is 72 marks, 24 questions. VARC is 30 marks, 10 question. The total marks in the section is 102 and the total number of questions is 34. We have set our goal saying that I have to get 72 marks, which is 24 question net correct. This is probably not the way we will look at it. No, I want to do only reading comprehension and get everything correct, which may not work out. So probably a sensible thing to do is something like this. I think we will look at about getting about net 18 questions correct out of the 24 questions. That is how much. 6 threes are 18, 6 fours are 24, 3/4, 75% net correct from reading comprehension, about 60% net correct from VA. You could change this according to your strengths or your plan, but this is what I'm going to go with. So let's write that there. So we have refined our goals. We're saying 72 marks, 24 questions. Reading comprehension, we need to get net 18 plus correct. Verbal ability, we need to get net 6 plus correct. All right. Now, next, what we have to look at is constraints. Now, I'm not talking about your internal issues that you have lack of motivation or you've not been reading a lot. I'm not talking about. Let's look at some external constraints that are there. I think the most important constraint that we should look at is the time that we have, and that's not in our control at all. So the question, therefore, to you is how many hours will you put in or can you put in? What is a good question? I don't know. How many hours can you put in? You might give any answer. Will you put in? Whichever you look at it, how many hours? And give me a number which is reasonable, which is sensible. You can say that I'm going to study 6 hours every day. That's good to say, but I'm sure I know you're going to start day one 6 hours, day two 6 hours, day three not going to happen. I don't think that we have in our past. I have to look back and say which is the exam that I actually study 6 hours. There might be some of you have done that. I'm sure some of you have done that. But we are looking at a sensible plan, right? We're looking at a sensible plan, which is not to say that you should study 6 hours every single day to get the 99 percentile score. Then what is the point? If you have to slog like that and get 99, but what is the point? We have to look at, you tell me, 20 hours per week. Okay, I think that that's something that all of us can put 20 hours per week total for the cat. You might want to add, let's say, extra number of hours for other exams, but let's say 20 hours per week. Not much for other exams, by the way, because CAT will by and large cover most of the areas of other exams. But yes, you have to look at some extra bit of logical reasoning to be done for, let's say, exams like NMAT, SNAP, MHCT. You have to do a little bit of grammar and other areas for your verbal. But okay, okay, we'll leave that aside for the time being. I think 20 hours per week is a sensible plan. What we have is that so you're looking at roughly per week 7 hours for verbal ability and reading comprehension. This 20 hours per week, by the way, is for all the three areas. I've just divided by three. I'm looking at about 7 hours per week for verbal ability, reading comprehension. Let's look at a 20 weeks plan. We have, if I look at when I recorded this video, I think that we have got 23 weeks before the cat hits us. So I'll just look at a plan of 20 hours. We have 140 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Our constraints, everything is set. We have now that 72 marks to be achieved in 140 hours of preparation. That's our plan of action. Now we have got the constraints. This is fine. This looks good. Now let's get into setting the priorities. Now 140 hours means that we have to be very careful in terms of what is the problem that we'll attack. How to build vocabulary. You want to address that issue here? Should you mug word list, for example? Is that your question? Should I mug word list? Is a problem. Let's take one. If I take a word list of 6,000 words, And you probably will eventually put in about a minute per word, I'm sure, because you have to do the whole thing in what, one round, two round, three round. My maths tells me that that's about 100 hours. You're only 140 hours. You can't eat this 140 hours, 100 hours mugging some random word list. Bad idea. No, 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 no. What about a vocabulary building books? There are some good books available to build your vocabulary, right? Should I study those things now? Okay. That will take about 180 hours, because one reading of the book is about 90 hours and three reading of the book is 180 hours. We are 140 hours here. Oh my God. So what now? So let's look at what you want to do with this vocabulary, right? What is that you want to do? I think from a perspective of the cat, you're looking at this vocabulary because if there is any tough words in the passage, I should understand what that word is, right? And for other exams, for example, you would probably need to look at how to, let's say, solve fill in the blanks questions, or how to solve analogies questions, or how to solve idioms questions. So you would want to carefully look at other exams and see what is the preparation that you want to get there. But you keep this in mind that you have a constraint. I cannot be spending the entire time on the 140 hours, but we'll have to do something sensible. I understand this issue that some of us has genuine issue with respect to vocabulary. If vocabulary is not good enough, then I may find it very difficult to even read the passage that I'm reading. So let's look at it this way. Let's create a focused test per 140 hours and have some good reading habit. And that's a hobby. Don't count that as a part of your preparation. By which I mean that let's spend time in reading some books and reduce the time that we spend on watching TV. That's awesome. Now we have a question in your mind. What books to read? You read a book that you want to read. I mean, there is no anybody can come and give you a list of these are the books that I recommend, these are the books that I recommend, but that's crazy. Is that how you decide how to watch movies? I'm going to ask people, give me a list of 10 movies to watch this month. Please give it to me. I think that your Netflix and other apps recommends movie to you. But do you really watch them? You're actually searching most of them. You have your taste, right? The point that I'm saying is you read. You might also want to put your vocabulary book in that a good habit time. So one thing that you want to do is that let's do a focus test prep of 140 hours and look at some good habits that is going to help you. And that good habit, you can read a lot, and you should do that. Read anything, but read, and that will come by reducing some of this time that you're spending on watching stuff. Okay, great. Another thing that we'll see is that 140 hours has to be divided in for those two areas, reading comprehension, verbal ability. I've looked at a ratio of 9 is to 5, uh, decent ratio, right? 90 hours we will spend for in reading comprehension, and 50 hours we'll spend in verbal ability. That will translate, I think, that in the 90 hours we'll be able to do about 450 passages. That is my math that tells me. And then in those 50 hours we'll be able to do some 500 questions of VA. So that should be enough. That's what we can do. That's a max out thing. So I probably looked at about 12 minutes per reading comprehension passage, which comes to that math for 50 hours. Here I looked at, I think, 6 minutes per verbal ability question, including the time that you spent in evaluating the answers and figuring out. I think this is a good enough number that we can aim at. Uh, we can say that I'm going to do 2,000 passages. Yes, but we cannot do that in 140 hours. Right? But this is good. So if I cannot improve my reading comprehension score after solving 450 passages, then I think we should just give up. Don't you think so? No? Yes? No? What do you think? Let me know on the comment box as to what you think about that statement. If I'm not improving my score after solving 450 passages, what am I solving? What am I learning from each of these passages? I think it's better to improve score with the least amount of effort. That should be the attitude, right? I might even say that you should look at about 300 passages. That should be good enough, according to me. But it's okay. Let's have this number, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just set some priorities. Let's start with reading comprehension. How do I set priorities? The plan of action has to be based on the priorities now, because we have to set priorities because we have got constraint of 140 hours. Setting priorities, ladies and gentlemen, this is the pattern for the past how many years from CAT 2015. Yes, you've got five passages. Cat 18 and Cat 19 had four passages with five questions each and one passage with four questions each. So you have these passages. Now, your starting point is after goal is to get net 18 correct in reading comprehension. If you remember, you might want to think of let me just do four passages and leave one passage completely out. But in these four passages, I'm going to get almost every question correct. Saying, wait a minute. That sounds very illogical. If you can actually get almost all the questions correct in four passages, why won't you do the fifth passage also? What is wrong with you? I think this when we start anything, we should not start by saying that what are the things I'm going to leave. Right? Uh, That's not a good way to start things out. What do you think? Anyways, coming back to this question of net 18 correct, what is probably going to happen is this, that you would want to look at all the five passages. You may not solve all the questions. You may make some mistakes here, but you want to get by and large get almost every questions correct. Right. So this is a plan of action, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to solve all the five passages. You might be wondering, all five passages? Come on, sir. What are you talking about? Yes, we have to solve all five passages. Now, this is the time limit. Let's say we have got 60 minutes and there are 10 questions of paragraph jumble, odd sentence, and paragraph summary questions. 10 questions in total. That probably will take about 15 to 20 minutes, depending upon how well you do it. But 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes per question, that's about 15 20 minutes. That leaves us about 40 to 45 minutes for the five passages, which then translate to 8 to 9 minutes per passage. So that is a goal, ladies and gentlemen. We need to solve those questions, each passage, in about 8 to 9 minutes. Yeah, there is something that you must understand here. The total time is time to read the passage plus time to solve question number one plus time to solve question number two plus time to solve question number three plus time to solve question number four plus time to solve question number five. And the whole total time is 8 to 9 minutes. Yeah, there are two activities, reading a passage and solving the question. What I've seen is that we completely forget about the fact that the time includes time to solve the question and our entire focus is on the passage. How should I read the passage fast? Should I skim the passage? So give me some strategies, sir. I'm saying passage take how much time to read? So what? 500 words? If you got about 150 to 200 words per minute is a normal speed of every human being, I think I can read the passage in about 3 minutes with a reasonable good bit of understanding. The issue, of course, is with the questions. You must always remember this. We are dealing with two people. Your author who wrote the passage, the question creator did not create the passage. He just stole the passage from somewhere, or borrowed would be a better word. And that questions creator is the one who's creating question and also creating options. So he is a devil, good devil, but a devil nevertheless. So the question creator wants to trap us. The author is a good man or a good lady. When the author wrote the article or the book, author wrote those things for an audience. Now, you may not be the audience for that particular article, but whoever was the audience, the author really want to help those audience understand something. Author may be evaluating something, or the author giving some explanation about something. The author's purpose is never to confuse the reader. The confusion is created by the question creator. And most of the time that we spend is actually on the questions. We look at a question, we have these four answer choices, we are stuck with two, and we are going, I don't know what to do. And another thing, and then we are unnecessarily we are looking at reading fast. Why you want to read fast? Read at a pace that you can understand the passage. Question creator. So when you ask this question, how to increase speed, you ask yourself, what are we talking? Reading speed or solving speed? Or both? What speed? Maybe if you want to increase your solving speed, one thing that you can do is that if, let's say, you solve question number one, you solved it. Question number two, you solved it. Question number three, you got stuck. And the increase in speed means could also mean increase in speed means let's just leave the question and move to the next one. I can increase my speed just by leaving some of this question that I'm getting stuck. Yeah. So you have to be very careful in terms of looking at what does increasing speed mean. It is not reading speed. Eh, Not necessarily. It's also solving the question. Now, by the way, to solve a question, you have to read well or comprehend the passage really well. So maybe you should read slow to increase the overall speed. Think about all these things. The total time is 8 to 9 minutes. That is our goal. That does not necessarily mean that I'm going to sit and focus only on the reading part. And there might be some of you who will take probably about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, read a passage. That is largely because you're going back and reading the passage once again. You've not understood the sentences. You're focusing too much on a lot of things. That skill set you have to improve, right? So that's something that we will figure out, and that is one priority that we must have. Some of you are very good at reading, can read very fast, but then get stuck in a particular question. So you have a different priorities in that sense to figure out how to ensure that I can do all of these in about 8 to 9 minutes. Now we have these questions, and people blame questions. I am not good in inference question. I am not good in this question. I always make mistake in that question. I have a problem with that as well. This is your the structure, right? So you have a passage given to you, some question, three options are wrong, one is correct. Whatever is the correct option must be and only be based on the passage, whether it is inference question, main idea question, whatever it is. It has to be something based on the passage and passage alone. You actually don't need any other information apart from what is given in the passage. So how does it matter what question it is? Main idea, inference based question, agree, disagree, detail based question, this based question, that based question. If I can understand the passage really well, if I can understand the structure of the passage. For example, paragraph number 1, the author talks about a particular concept X. Paragraph number 2, author says that concept X is wrong. Paragraph number 3, author gives reasons as to why paragraph that concept X is wrong. And paragraph number 4, author gives an alternative concept. Why? Which explains the whole thing better. That could be a structure. The structure, maybe not something else, some other structure. Paragraph number 1 says that there is a new discovery. Paragraph number 2, what the new discovery revealed. Paragraph number 3, the new discovery, what are the corrections that the new discovery made. Every passage will have some structure. If you can understand the structure of the passage, the main idea of the passage, if you can read really well, you should not be bothered too much about the type of questions. By the way, by the way, the problem is actually not with the questions. I can create whatever is the question. The problem is with options. The question setter wants to trap you. The question setter will create awesome options. Awesome. This is fine. Here, awesome is good. Frightening and amazing options that you have very appealing, but in fact a wrong answer, and you fall for the traps. It doesn't matter what the passage is in one sense, what the question is. It eventually boils down to your figuring out that particular option and not falling for the trap. I hope I'm making sense here. I hope I'm making sense. Yes, I am. So there are two things. I have to understand the passage, I have to solve the question. That's it. Let's keep it very simple. So there you go. To understand the passage, let's look at the three things about passage. The passage is from different genre, different topics. It could be from different sources, and it has a particular word length. Okay, that's the three things that we can look at. If you look at the past CAT papers, and actually if you look at past paper from 1990 itself till date, the CAT is always asked in every test multiple genre. There would be one passage on social sciences, which would be on any topic related to social sciences. Then you have natural sciences, topics of humanities, business, economy, broad topics. And you see that every test has got multiple genre. It is not like there's a IIM or an MBA admission test. Therefore, I will ask only business passages. No, very diverse. The source largely, if I look at from 2015, is from largely articles from certain websites. You have Ion essays is one side they are picked up. They're picked from Smithsonian Magazine. They picked from The Guardian, the New York Times, Economics, Time Magazine, and a lot of other articles from good magazines. And the words usually is about 500-ish words, 500, 550, 480. They're about that. So it's not very lengthy. Yeah. And the source, if you look at the source, these are all articles in a website. And when people write articles for a website, they're writing article for Aam Janta, so to speak, all of us. So the passage is not that dense, not that dense. Especially if you look at the 17 passages, 18 passages, passages, those questions, not dense. But you might disagree with me saying that, sir, I've taken CAT last year, CAT 2019, and the passages were tough. No, not all passages were tough. This is what the story of CAT 2019 is: genre, source, and the words. If you look at the word limit for slot 1 and slot 2, almost all the passages roughly about 500 wordish. So that's fine. If you look at the genre, it is from multiple genre. You have got social sciences, natural sciences, humanities, economics, all the genres you can find. If you look at the sources, you see these ones. So you have one passage from slot 1 and one passage in slot 2 was taken from a book and not from an article. And that's surprising. For surprising in the sense because of this. If you look at from CAT 2000 to 2008 period, almost all the passages were taken from books. And the green represent those articles, passages from articles. Articles are short passages on a website, maybe The Guardian, or some essays. Essay, let me put essay as a better word to look at. And others from books. And CAT 2015 to CAT 2018, every single passage that they picked were from articles. But in CAT 2019, they picked one book. Now, what book does is that book is slightly more niche in the sense that you have someone who's going to purchase the book. The audience for the book may be very different from the audience for an article. And especially, let's say the book talks about Friedrich Nietzsche's understanding of ethics, or something like that. And that audience is very different. So the author in a book may spend, let's say, 2 3 chapters building the introducing the whole topic, and then gets to the next chapter in a little more depth. And in a test, they have to take 500 words from the book. They're going to pick somewhere right in the middle. And I'm thinking at that 500 word will not capture the entire essence of the book. But article is very different. Let's say I've got a 2000 word article somebody has written. I'm taking 500 words from those 2000 words. That's like what, 25% of the entire article I can see in the passage. I understand the passage slightly better. But when you take from books, usually you'll find it slightly more dense to read. That may very well explain as to why the 99 percentile score in 15, 16, 18 is about 75, and 99 percentile score in CAT 2019 is about 65. It's because of that particular book. So we don't know what is going to happen in CAT 2020. We should be ready for both. What do you say? So, ladies and gentlemen, two priorities when it comes to reading. One is ability to comprehend diverse topics. So you see multiple genre, and you must comprehend diverse topics. And the second is the ability to comprehend dense material, which is the bookish material. Two things that we want to build in those in 104, no, not the entire 140 hours, in the next whatever 5 months that you have. I have to build this one and forget about the past. I've not read anything in the past. There is no point looking back. Let's look forward. Starting from today. Today, I'm going to look at diverse topic. I'm going to look at dense material. I have never read one passage on epistemology. And this may be a good time to actually read about that. Good. So what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? We can do this daily activity. What do you say? One article per day. I think you can pick from Ion essays. Ion essay is pretty good. Ion essay has got quite a lot of articles which are also very dense. It kind of serves a purpose of reading dense stuff. You can also pick from Smithsonian Magazine, The Guardian, any good article, diverse articles, right? So you want to look at some diverse article that you want to read. So let's say that Monday I'm going to read social sciences, Tuesday I will read natural sciences, Wednesday I will read something. So ensure that you create a plan, say that I'm going to read an article per day. And since this is for the preparation for the CAT, and we want to make it very purposeful, I will also suggest you to do one more thing, is to create two things in that one more thing. Okay, logbook, a detailed book, wherein when you read an article, what you want to do is list down all the words that you came across. Just write those words down. Okay. You can type those words down, or this can be on an Excel sheet or whatever, but at least list those words down. That might help you for vocabulary as well, right? That's good. That's good. And then the next thing I want to do is to develop this comprehension skill. That's by doing what I'm going to call a mapping, paragraph mapping. What I mean is this: every paragraph has got one thesis sentence or main sentence. Rest all are details supporting that one sentence. You identify the topping sentence of every paragraph and create a map. Create a structure. What you've read. Okay, paragraph number one, this is what I've understood. Paragraph, it's like taking a good notes and creating a structure note. How do I look at this? Maybe first paragraph. What is the first paragraph all about? What is the main idea of the first paragraph? First paragraph introduces a topic. What is the main end of the second paragraph? A particular popular perception about that particular topic. What is the third paragraph? Author's issue with that perception and author wants to correct in the perception. What is the fourth paragraph? Author gives reason number one as to why that perception is wrong. What is the next paragraph? Author gives an example supporting that thing, and you want to look at that one thing, and that is an exercise that you will do. So this is going to be an activity that you'll do every single day to improve your comprehension. Now, the problem here is obviously you cannot check whether you're comprehended the passage really well. That's okay. Forget about that. I think that you don't have to check with anyone else whether you're competent really well. But this, if you do every single day, ladies and gentlemen, one article every single day with this small exercise, I think we can build this one. Let's look. We are going to question types. Different type of questions that are asked. One is general understanding question, which asks about the main idea, the structure, the tone of the passage, overall understanding of the passage. Which are the kind of questions you don't have to go back. You don't have to go back once you read. You understand this. When you read a passage, that is what you have to understand, right? What is the main theme? What's the main idea? What's the tone? What's the structure? There's something that you will do in the first reading of the any passage. The second type of question are the specific detailed question, which kind of maybe forces me to go back again. Maybe in some of the cases you can remember from memory and solve answer the question, but in some cases you probably will have to go back and check once again the detail from the passage. So the passage map helps, right? The passage map helps to figure out where the detail is from the passage. Third is those interpretation based questions. So inferences that you can draw, or things that the author will agree or disagree, or any sort of application based, or the principle is given by the author, how can apply to an external situation, or those questions which are critical reasoning based. Tell me what the assumption author is making here. Okay, if I give a new evidence, would it support the author's argument? Will it weaken the author's argument? And the cat largely has been asking for every passage at least one question from critical reasoning here. Now you might be wondering uh, what to focus on those things. Though let's take this is a chart of CAT 2019 slot one, CAT 2019 slot two, CAT 2018 slot one, CAT 2018 slot two. You see that you have got, let's say, CLAT 2019, about 14 questions out of the 24 questions, 14, 15 questions out of the 24 questions were interpretation based. About 8 to 9 was detail based and one general understanding questions. CAT 2018, you had about 2 to 3 general understanding questions and a reasonable equal spread of interpretation based question, detail based question. CAT 2017 had, every passage had one general understanding question, which is about 4-ish. The point is that I cannot start here by saying that I will leave out certain type of question. I will not solve inference-based question. And it's a general myth that inference-based question is by design difficult. It is not. Right? It is not. We have to deal with every goddamn question, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the structure. So therefore, the priority here is, I think that one thing that you must do is learn critical reasoning. It helps a lot. It helps really well. Understanding critical reasoning is about somebody presents an argument. what is the conclusion that the argument has, what are the evidence that is used to support the whole argument, what assumptions someone is making in the particular argument, what are the inherent flaws that the argument is making. What critical reasoning really help is to look at a paragraph and identify the role of each sentence. Okay, this sentence is a detail that the author has used to support a main claim that the author is making. I can identify things like what is the opinion of is this sentence a statement of fact or a sentence a statement of opinion. So learning critical reasoning, I'm saying not from the perspective of solving a question on critical reasoning, but in general, learning critical reasoning is a good thing. So there are lot of channels available, lot of videos available on critical thinking, critical reasoning. You might want to check some of those out and learn critical reasoning as a skill, and that is going to go a long way, I think, in helping you to comprehend the passage better, and also in the cat solving some of those specific questions. That's one. Number two is to solve passages and understand option traps. So we have to look at what traps am I falling for, why am I getting a particular question wrong, understanding traps set by the question setter. Those are the two things. What is the activity that we'll do? First is we'll go to the source, past cat passages. I have created a video on past cat passages. You can check that video out. I'll probably leave that on the description box. Anyways, go to the passage. There are from cat 1990 till cat 2008 and cat 2017, 18, 19, all put together you get 26 tests. Each test on an average has about five um passages on an average. We're looking at close to about 100 odd passages already available to you from the very source. Now, you don't have to think about that passage is long, the passage is short, the passage has got a lot of this kind of topic, that kind of topic. It doesn't matter. We're going to ensure that our preparation has the past cat papers. You're solving from them. And then you can still have the logbook here as well. And in this case, while adding, listening to all the words that you came across, just keep a note of all the words that you don't know. Just keep a note of those words. You also want to write down option traps, the things that you actually fell for. What particular option, kind of option that is falling for. I'm okay, fine. There is an option which is slightly twisted way of giving the answer, not the exact right answer. Maybe the answer option was slightly broad. There's a video that I made on how to eliminate based on answer how to eliminate answer choices. Please have a look at that particular video. That could be a good starting point. And probably will leave the description, uh, leave the link in the description box. What am I saying? Okay. Now for this to happen, what you need to do is you will take the passage. The first time you take it is a time passage, right? 9 minutes or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is, time passage. Now don't jump to the explanation. Once you've taken a time passage, then you redo the whole passage without any time left. Here you are reading the passage really well. If you don't know the meaning of the word, you could check the meaning of the word, understanding every single paragraph once again, and then look at all the questions once again. And then you check the explanation. And then you understand your errors. What errors did you make? Did you understand? So you have to sit with each passage and do an in-depth analysis of every single passage that is solved. That's important. And that's something that you will do with your passages from your books and your test as well. So I'm not saying that you should start with the cat passages and then go to the books. You can go to the books and go to the cat passages. That doesn't matter. But the point here is that you at the end of the day, what we have to solve about 450 passages, right? That's all we. That's the maximum we can do. We start by uh, taking a source. Past cat passages are pretty good. You can start from there as well. Okay, there's no problem. Or from the book. Up to you. I'm saying at the end of your preparation, you should cover, you definitely must do the past cat passage for sure. And then do the process very clearly, which is do it in timed test, redo the whole thing once again, redo the entire thing. Therefore, you're really learning there. And then the next thing is to go back and check the explanatory answer and then check what answer choices you got. And most of the time that you find that explanatory answers may not be necessarily well written. So the explanatory answers in a lot of cases may not really help you exactly understand what the problem is. So you are on your own, as always, and you should figure out your own process, methods, understanding as to why certain answer choice is wrong. Yes. Also, maybe check my video. That might help as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, for reading comprehension, articles, and practice, we read articles and we'll practice. That is a priority, ladies and gentlemen. And then we have the next one, which is verbal ability. If you look at verbal ability, one thing that is very peculiar: paragraph jumble, paragraph summary, odd sentence in a paragraph. What is this all about? It's all about paragraphs. And what was reading comprehension? Combination of paragraphs. So, are these not saying? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, by the way, the paragraph summary is like main idea. So whatever you're doing specifically for the reading comprehension, trying to comprehend the passage, understanding the topic sentence, would definitely automatically help in paragraph summary. We have to deal with these people, paragraph jumble and odd sentence paragraph. This has to do with paragraph coherence, right? How are the sentences connected together? So you might want to go back and actually solve paragraph jumble. Now, now the CAT passages, every single, almost all CAT passages back from 1990 has got paragraph jumble question. They don't have odd sentence in a paragraph questions, but they do have paragraph jumble question. And there are options there. What you want to do is hide the options and then solve the paragraph jumble question. All of them. And once you're good in paragraph jumble, I think that your odd sentence in a paragraph will also improve. That's my take. What is important here, of course, is to you have to create your own ideas, your own strategy. People might come and tell me I'll have a short way of cracking paragraph jumble question. My video also says probably that there's some short way of cracking, probably clickbait. That must be. I People can give ideas, right? Okay, take help, take ideas, but you have to create your own plan. And creating your own plan, because you understand yourself far better than anyone else, right? If it even if it's reading comprehension, even if it is verbal ability, anything else, you have to create your own plan. And that is our priority set. Reading comprehension articles for practice, VA. We will look at the process of solving the question. That is what you have to create, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's create a simple plan. 3 months. I think we can create a weekly plan for 3 months. In the first month, every week, can we do 7 articles per week? Yes, we will do 7 articles per week. Can we start by solving 10 RCs per week? Because we're going to do a lot of. We'll go back to the passage, redo the whole thing. We're going to learn. Don't simply do some 20 passages every single day. You have to learn. No, the only one to learn is if you redo the passage, understand from the passage. Quantity, not quantity. Quality is also very important. Okay, redo the whole thing and learn. So we'll start with 10 per passage. We can probably increase that in month two, read more articles. Probably you'll be good at it and read more, solve more passages, because then you probably will have gained some skills, by the way. And then towards month three, we can add that. So that I'll leave up to you. But start with these two things. That is something that is must do. And I've not added your habits that you do separately, reading books and other stuff. For the verbal ability part, we'll start, let's say, 1 month. Uh, Per week, I will do 30 paragraph jumble. So let me nail paragraph jumble in month one. Once I do that, let's do odd sentence in month two, and let's do paragraph jumble in month three. This is weekly, not daily. I'm saying weekly. These are all weekly. Weekly 30 paragraph jumble question in month one every day. So in month one, it's very clear. Read 7 articles, 10 RCs per week, and 30 paragraph jumble. In all that, you please keep a record, detail logbook. A logbook is a detail book. You list down everything. That's your book. You have to go back and refer to everything. Your entire history is there. You have all the words that is written neatly. Create a good book, and keep that by the side. It can be an Excel sheet as well, but I think a book is book, right? I don't know. That I leave up to you. So let's talk after 3 months. What do you say? So you do this, and then we'll talk after 3 months. And you're going, hey, sir. There is a question of struggle with other management entrance tests. What is other management entrance test? By the way, you have taken care of reading comprehension. You have taken care of reasoning. You have vocabulary and grammar, which are English usage. No, but by doing all the things that you've done so far, you're also learning new words. Your grammar is automatically improving. Yes, you might take extra time, extra bit of time for other exams, which you must do. I'm not saying sure you must do. Maybe I'll do that in a separate video, by the way. You let me know which exam I should pick up and talk about. Maybe what NMAT or SNAP or that. Let me know. I will take that up separately. Now you may still have doubts. um, you have a lot of doubts here as well. So what I'll suggest you, ladies and gentlemen, is to post your questions on VRC on the comment box, and maybe I'll create a Jijo answers video. I'll keep put all the questions up and answer all those questions that you have in your mind. Maybe in the next seventh day, 7 days from now. Okay, from now. What is now? Doesn't matter. So if you still have doubt, please put in the comment box, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this was very useful. So see you and good luck with your preparation. Bye.